This is Celebrity Thursdays. Every Thursday, we present you with another celebrity. Today, we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about Harrison Ford. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get informed. Hello, Aluxers, and welcome back to another exciting original video presented by Alux.com. Today we're revealing some interesting, lesser-known facts about American actor and producer Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford was born July 13, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. He took an acting class his senior year at Ripon College to help him get over his shyness and became captivated with acting. In 1964, he moved to Los Angeles and managed to get a contract with Columbia Pictures that paid $150 per week. After struggling as an actor for several years, he was cast by George Lucas in American Graffiti in 1973. This led to his major breakout role in Lucas's Star Wars film in 1977. He's best known for his role of Han Solo in the Star Wars series and for playing Indiana Jones in a series of films created by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. His other notable movies include The Fugitive, Air Force One, What Lies Beneath, Blade Runner 2049, and Patriot Games. Harrison's film career stretches over 6 decades, and he has over 75 acting credits to his name, along with a few producer credits. We want to learn some more about Ford because he's one of the most well-known, respected, influential, and successful actors of our time, and he's still going strong, well into his 70s. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Let's take some time now to take a closer look at this A-list celebrity with the 15 things you didn't know about Harrison Ford. Number 1. He gave up acting to become a carpenter. In his mid-20s, after struggling for several years to support his wife and 2 sons through his acting career, he decided to put acting to the side and focus on carpentry instead. He was self-taught, but he quickly made a name for himself as a skilled carpenter in the Los Angeles area. He worked in the homes of several rich and famous people and built a reputation of being one of the best cabinet makers in LA in the early 70s. Even after becoming successful, he continued doing carpentry as a hobby, and it's still one of his favorite pastimes today. Number 2. He starred in at least one $100 million film for 5 consecutive decades. Ford has been actively working in the movie industry for over 55 years, and he has an impressive resume to show for it. He has the distinction of being in at least one film that has grossed over $100 million in each of the last 5 decades. And actually, he's been in a total of 22 movies that have grossed over $100 million. 1 in the 1970s, Star Wars of course, 6 in the 1980s, 7 in the 1990s, 2 in the 2000s, and 6 in the 2010s. This makes him one of the highest-earning actors of all time. Number 3. George Lucas did not want him to be in Raiders of the Lost Ark. When George Lucas and Steven Spielberg began collaborating on Raiders of the Lost Ark in the late 70s, Spielberg had Ford in mind for the lead role of Indiana Jones, but Lucas was adamant about not using him in the film. He had already worked with Ford in American Graffiti and Star Wars, and he didn't want every movie he did to be a Harrison Ford movie. He really wanted Tom Selleck for the role, and Spielberg agreed, but when Selleck couldn't fit the film into his schedule, Lucas relented and Ford was cast. The Indiana Jones franchise would go on to become one of the most profitable in film history. Number 4. He was initially hired just as a line reader for Star Wars. Ford had previously worked with George Lucas in American Graffiti, so when Lucas was ready to audition people for Star Wars, he hired Ford to come in and read lines with actors who are auditioning. Day after day, Ford would read lines with various actors hoping to be cast, but he didn't just read them. He took the job seriously and acted with emotion, which made Lucas pay attention to him. Eventually, Lucas was completely won over and decided to cast Harrison as Han Solo, a life-changing role that would finally launch Ford to stardom after over 10 years of struggling as an actor. Number 5. His net worth is $230 million. Ford went from earning $150 per week early in his career to being one of the highest paid actors of all time. His salary for the first Star Wars movie was only $10,000, but he then earned $500,000 for Return of the Jedi. In 1990, he earned $12.5 million for Presumed Innocent, and in 1992, he had a $9 million payday for Patriot Games. Clear and Present Danger brought him $10 million, and he earned $20 million each for The Devil's Own, Air Force, 6 Days, 7 Nights, and What Lies Beneath. Most recently, he earned $25 million for Star Wars Episode 7: The Force Awakens. And all of this is just a fraction of his earnings that have contributed to his massive $230 million net worth. Number 6. His divorce was the most expensive in Hollywood history up to that point. Ford married Melissa Matheson, who's most well known for writing the E.T. screenplay, on March 14, 1983. This was his second wife, his first wife being Mary Marquardt, who he was married to from 1964 to 1979. Harrison and Melissa separated in 2001, and while they were separated, he began dating actress Calista and even adopted her son. They officially divorced in January 2004 in what was, at the time, the most expensive divorce in Hollywood history. Melissa ended up walking away with $118 million due to the length of their marriage and Harrison's well-publicized adultery. Today, it still stands as the fourth most expensive Hollywood divorce. Harrison has been married to Calista since 2010. Number 7. He accepted and personally delivered disgraced director Roman Polanski's Oscar. Roman Polanski is a French director who has been living as a fugitive from the United States since 1978 after pleading guilty to statutory rape for engaging with a 13-year-old girl when he was 44. He moved to France, where he continued to have a successful directing career. In 2002, he was awarded the Oscar for Best Director for The Pianist, and Harrison Ford accepted the Oscar on his behalf. Furthermore, he personally delivered it to the exiled director a few months later in Paris. More recently, in May of 2018, after much public pressure, the Academy of Motion Pictures expelled Polanski from their organization, along with Bill Cosby. Number 8. He is banned from China. China doesn't take kindly to any criticism about its government or its policies, and the leaders maintain a blacklist of those who have been critical and ban these people from entering the country. Harrison Ford's name made it onto that list in 1996 after speaking in front of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee in support of Tibet and against China for occupying the region and mistreating its citizens. Other celebrities that are banned include Brad Pitt, Sharon Stone, and Martin Scorsese. Number 9. He is a professional pilot who owns a number of aircraft. Ford started taking flying lessons as a young man, but had to stop when he couldn't afford the fees anymore. When he was 52, he started training for his professional pilot's license, and he's now the licensed owner of a number of aircraft. His aviation collection includes mainly vintage aircraft, including an Aviat Husky, a Canadian Havilland Beaver, a 1929 open-top biplane, and several Cessnas. He also owns a helicopter. He said he flies his planes just as much as he drives his cars, and admits he's even flown up the California coast just to get a cheeseburger. He keeps most of his planes at the Santa Monica Airport and keeps his helicopter in Wyoming. Number 10. He helped build the house where he lives in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. In the early 80s, Ford bought 800 acres of property in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which he thought would make the perfect retreat from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. It wasn't until several years later that he had the chance to break ground on his new home, which he had meticulously designed himself. He guided the construction crew step by step on his vision, and he took a hands-on role in helping to build the guest house and garage. In 2016, he sold his 7,000 square foot Los Angeles mansion for $12 million and now lives in Wyoming the majority of the time. He also owns a $13 million property in British Columbia, Canada. And hey, Aluxers, you want to find out some more about that amazing country? Just click in the top right corner to watch our video, 25 Things You Didn't Know About Canada. Enjoy! Number 11. He joined a talent agency for the first time when he was 57. For most of his career, Harrison had been able to rely on his contacts, the reputation he had built for himself, and his movie resume to secure him solid acting roles. But there was a period in his career where he starred in a series of box office failures. These movie misses included 6 Days, 7 Nights, Random Hearts, Hollywood Homicide, Firewall, and K-19 The Widowmaker. After Random Hearts barely cleared $10 million at the box office in 1999, he decided to join a talent agency for the first time in his career at the age of 57. His star status was once again confirmed with 2008's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Number 12. He's going to star in another Indiana Jones movie in 2020. Steven Spielberg has been working on the 5th installment of the Indiana Jones franchise since 2009. As of 2012, Disney owns the rights to the Indiana Jones film franchise since they bought Lucasfilm. In 2016, Disney announced the film would be released in 2019, but production has been pushed back, and now the movie is scheduled to be filmed in 2019 and released on July 10, 2020. Ford will be reprising his starring role, this time at the age of 75. He first starred as Indiana Jones at the age of 37. Number 13. He named a species of butterfly. In 2002, Harrison's contributions to the environment were recognized when he was asked to name a newly discovered Tanzanian butterfly species. He decided to name it after his daughter, Georgia. Also in honor of his conservation work, he had a species of Central American ant and a spider species named after him as well. Number 14. He conducts mountain rescue missions in Wyoming. As mentioned earlier, Ford keeps his helicopter in Wyoming, and one reason is because he's often called upon to conduct mountain rescue missions. In the past, he's rescued a stranded hiker from Table Mountain, picked up a 13-year-old Boy Scout who wandered off from camp, and rescued a disoriented and dehydrated hiker from the Teton Mountains. Harrison has an assigned duty time with the Teton County Search and Rescue Team, and he is always on call in case of emergencies. Number 15. He is the highest-grossing actor of all time. As of 2018, Ford has the exclusive distinction of being the highest-grossing actor of all time. His movies have combined worldwide to gross $8.9 billion. His highest-grossing movie, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, brought in over $2 billion on its own in 2015 and is the third highest-grossing film of all time, behind Avatar and Titanic. He also beat out several well-known actors in the top 10, including the runner-up Samuel L. Jackson, and Johnny Depp, Tom Hanks, Morgan Freeman, and Tom Cruise. And there you have it, Aluxers, some interesting, lesser-known facts about Harrison Ford. Now that you've learned some more about Ford, we'd like to know, which of his movie roles is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Still here? Here's a bonus fact just for you. Number 16. He was paid $65 million for the 4th Indiana Jones movie. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out in 2008 as the 4th installment of the Indiana Jones series. Although Harrison loves the franchise, he had to be convinced to come back for a 4th time at nearly 65 years of age. This was accomplished through a very generous contract that gave Harrison a significant portion of the film's profits, and it ended up being one of the biggest film earnings for an actor that Hollywood has ever seen, totaling $65 million. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.